Hi, and welcome to The Curling Show, the podcast that brings you interviews with the sport's top athletes and the people who shape the game. I'm Dean Gemmel, and if you've listened to the show recently, you know we've had a sponsor, and I hope some of you have taken the time to check out jlpowell.com. But sponsors for this podcast are hard to find, and as a result, I'm going to try a listener-supported approach again, something I tried in the past but abandoned, perhaps prematurely. So if you like The Curling Show, or even if you just think it doesn't suck and you listen to it because you're a curling fanatic, think about supporting this podcast by occasionally visiting thecurlingshow.com and clicking on the Support the Show link. From time to time, I'll read the names of people who take that step, which, of course, would surely be a life-changing moment. As always, though, thanks for listening, and let's get to the interview. A guy who's played with two of the greatest skips in Alberta history and will now play with one of the finest from Manitoba, Don Walchuk. Welcome to The Curling Show.
Thanks, Dean.
Hey, let's start with your decision to join forces with Kerry Burtnyk and his team. It took a while to come together as there was some back and forth over CTRS points and what actually constituted Kerry's team last season. But when he called, how quickly did you decide to sign on?
Well, it didn't take me too long to decide. Actually, I've admired Kerry for many years, and obviously I've played against him enough times to know that that he's one of the greatest skips that's played the game. And when he came knocking on my door, it was with me looking possibly. It was a bit of a surprise to me, but it didn't take me long to decide that that's what I wanted to do. And actually a couple of years ago, before Kerry started with his new team, I had thought of playing with him, but I mean, he had already signed up with his new team, and before our then Martin Rink decided to call it quits. So yeah, no, it was a pretty easy decision, and really looking forward to the year.
Did you ever hear from Jeff Stoughton?
No, I never did hear from Jeff. I actually surprised as well over there to hear the shake-up in Manitoba, and actually both of them coming over here to find some players was quite an interesting situation.
Hey, if Kerry hadn't called, do you think you would have been talking to people in Alberta about putting together a team?
Actually, I was kind of in the midst of doing that with making some calls, talking to a couple of guys, and it was really early stages, and so when Kerry called and that situation came up, it just seemed that it was the way to go. So all that stuff was then terminated, and thus we have what's happening now.
The indications seem to be that you won't establish residency in the province and compete for the Manitoba title. Is that true, or am I off with that?
We really haven't finalized yet what's going to happen with regards to that. I know the team was put together to take care of or look forward to Vancouver 2010, and that was the main reason. We got together. As far as that goes, we really haven't finalized anything with regards to that yet.
I talked to Chris Shilley recently about residency rules, and it seems to me there's a bit of a conundrum for the game in Canada on this one. Top curlers still love the Tim Hortons Brier, fans still love it, but more and more teams are looking beyond provincial boundaries. It sure feels to me like the Brier loses its unique magic without true provincial reps, but sticking to the current rules might mean more and more teams have to take a pass on it. Do you have any thoughts on this dilemma?
Yeah, I do. I do. I think with the Olympics being there now, and it's the big thing that everybody's chasing down. The game's changed, and there's no boundaries for that, which I agree with that. I don't think there should be when it comes to the Olympics. But I also agree that the Brier is it's a big event, and it's got a lot of tradition, and yeah, I wouldn't want to see that that falter. It's taken its time to get to where it is today, and I think it needs to still be there. And what you do with regards to having this sort of thing carry on, I really don't know the answer. Maybe you need to to open the borders with regards to that, although it may, like you said, take some of its uniqueness away. But so I don't really know how to how you deal with that, but I like the Brier, and I think it needs to stay kind of as is, and Yet I do agree that when it comes to the Olympics, the boundaries should be open.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's difficult to look at the Olympics and see why you should have to play with someone from your province to represent your country. But it's just a tricky thing to me. I don't know where they'll go with it, but we'll see if they go anywhere. Hey, speaking of the Brier, you were just one game away from joining Pierre Charette and playing every position at a Brier since you lost the '94 provincial final to Ed Lukowicz while you were skipping. When you look back over the years, though, has third been your most natural position?
Yeah, I think it has. Just the way my career went. I mean, I could have maybe, stuck it out and just said, no, I want to be a skip my whole life, and it'd have been interesting to see how I would have done, but nobody knows that. So, but yeah, third is a good spot. I really enjoyed playing second too. When I started with lead with Pat Ryan, and there's the one position in one Brier, and then second for many years with Pat Ryan, and it was a good spot for me. I played a key role on that team, but as time goes on, you want to advance a bit more, and as you understand the game more, the third became more of a natural position, and even a natural position for me playing with a guy like Kevin Martin, who's one of the greatest players to ever play, and one of the greatest shot makers ever. And so it was to play with somebody like him. With him, it was a great spot for me to be.
Do you think that team in '85 brought the free guard zone into play faster than it might have otherwise?
I think it took a few years. Yeah,
85 through the '80s. I mean,
yeah, in the late '80s, I think it was. I think our team kind of changed the way the game went, and we've talked about it here and there. I'm not sure we single-handedly did it, but we were definitely one of the factors, I think, that changed the game to where it is now.
Well, you were so good at that game. I think that's what opened up everybody's eyes. I think some people always thought that you guys wouldn't do as well with the offensive style, but the fact is every player on that team just about has done real well with the free guard zone.
Well, there's no question, and that's what I've said often too. And we were just so good at what we did, and that's how we could win games, and we did that. But we, to get ahead in those games, when we did shut the door on everybody else, was we had to manufacture some offense to get the lead, and so we had a lot of talent on that team, and we won within the rules, and there's no doubt in my mind that the guys that were on that team were going to be able to do well in today's game as well, because they're talented players.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's about making shots, and all the players have the talent to do that. I'm guessing you might know Garth Smith a bit from his time in Alberta, but how familiar are you with both him and Richard Deneau?
Starting to get to know them well. They're really good guys. We actually spent some time earlier in the spring. We went out for a golfing trip to Kelowna and had a really good time to try and do some bonding, and I was recently up to Winnipeg and doing some practicing, and it's going to take a little bit of time, but we don't have a lot of time, so we need to get to know each other pretty quick, but we're starting to bond together, and they've got great sense of humor. Humor's like I do, and so I think we're going to get along just fine. It's going to be interesting to see how we come together on the ice, and I think I'm not overly concerned. I think there's a great pool of talent within our team, and I think we're going to do quite well.
2 years ago, you had a checkered season, I guess, playing with Brent McDonald, Warren Hassel, and Brendan Melnick. You also had some health problems that started the '05 Canadian Olympic curling trials, and I'm guessing things there might have been worse than you ever let on. But did last year, when you played sparingly, give you the time you needed to regroup, get things in order without having every weekend blocked out for curling?
Yeah, it was some time off that I guess you never plan these things, and looking back on it, I'm good with it, and I'm hoping that it's kind of going to resurge my interest. Not that it ever did dwindle, but just the way things were, it was nice to be able to step back and take some time, and everything on the health front is good, and I did have some issues during the trials or just later on in the trials, and it really it wasn't a good situation, but most of that was was near the end of the trials when it really started to come on when we were kind of already in trouble there. So, I would never use that as an excuse for, why we didn't do well there. So, but yeah, everything is good, and I'm real excited about being back in the fold.
Did you watch much curling last year?
I watched a bit. I'm really not a great curling fan.
Great fan of the game.
I am, but I'm not. I watch, but I guess the reason, to be real honest with you, why it's hard is because I'd sooner it be me there than somebody else, and that it's hard sometimes when you're not there and you're not playing. It's but like I said, I did keep an eye on what was going on, and so now that I'm back into it, I'll probably watch a little bit more. That I'm kind of back into it now. So,
hey, talking about being there, you've actually been on the ice for some of the seminal moments in our sport over the last 20 plus years. Playing lead for Ryan, Pat Ryan, like we mentioned in '85 when Al Hackner made his miracle double and then stole the extra end. Playing second for Pat against Eugene Ritzik when he stole 3 after Eugene was about 20 feet short of the hog line with his last one. Handed Kerry Burtnyk a loss that he considers the toughest of his career at the 2001 Canadian Olympic Curling Trials. And you saw Kevin's last rock at the 2002 Winter Games miss the mark by a few inches. Over all the years, though, what's the one game that you still think about the most?
I would say the game I think about the most is Al Hackner's shot that he made in 1985 against us to send that game into an extra end. It's just I don't know why it just plays over and over in my mind. I'm okay with it. It's because I've had a chance to go on from that, and I mean, if it was the only game that that I'd ever had a chance to win a Canadian, or that was my only opportunity ever, it would probably hurt a lot more. But being able to to go back and win, kind of helps me get through that. But it's a shot that I think about. At that time was unbelievable, and just to be part of some of these great moments in curling is, I'm very proud to be able to say that I was there.
Hey, finally, Don, you played a lot with two guys, Kevin Martin and Randy Ferbey, who have one of the more personal rivalries in curling. How awkward has that been?
It's been awkward at times. I don't think it's any secret that there's a major rivalry there, and Randy and I have been friends for a long time, and of course Kevin and I playing together for I played with him more than longer than I ever played with Randy, and it's been tough because I sometimes was caught in the middle, and I hear things on one side as far as what somebody thought, and I hear it on the other side, and so it was just I just have to take it in and not say too much about things, and so yeah, it was, to say the least, it was tough at times.
Well, at least you don't have to worry about that anymore. You're not caught in the middle.
No, I can hate both of them now. So it's no, I'm just kidding. No, I'm not caught in the middle anymore, and that's a great rivalry here in Edmonton and in Alberta, and I think it's healthy for the game.
All right, Don, I end with something I call the Runback. I give you a topic, and you give me your thoughts in 1 to 3 words. It's and I'm pretty liberal with the 1 to 3 words. So
okay.
All right, here we go. The young Chris Shilley, Charlie Thomas led lineup.
A great future.
Pat Ryan.
A legend of the game.
Randy Ferbey.
Also a legend of the game.
Well, I'll throw in Kevin Martin then too.
I'm sorry?
Kevin Martin.
One of the greatest shot makers ever.
The Tech Kaminko takeover of Fording Canadian Coal.
No comment.
Can't get it. Thought I'd delve into the business world for the moment there.
You caught me off guard.
Talk equities, but I guess you can't. Mark Johnson's plan to play for the U.S. Championship next season.
Surprisingly interesting.
The possibility of playing for Manitoba at Tim Hortons Brier in Calgary.
Unique and exciting.
Wayne Middaugh versus the Taxman.
An unfortunate situation.
Your curling shoes.
A legend in the game.
I can't remember now. Do you still use the broom ball shoe as the gripper or not?
Yes, I do.
You still use that, right? Gosh.
Yeah, I've got a few things that are, I don't know, it's almost become something that I just won't let go because, people are aware of these things now, and they're hard to let go.
And on that note, the corn broom you throw with.
It's seen a lot of games. I bet you that broom has seen more victories than anything in the sport of curling.
I hope you kept it in a fridge or a freezer last season when it didn't get much use.
It was in a safe place.
Russ Howard's turn as an analyst on TSN last year.
A good choice.
And finally, playing seniors with Don Bartlett one day.
Really looking forward to it. Great guy.
All right. Hey, thanks, Don. I appreciate your time. I give everybody a chance at the end to name their sponsors. So if you know the sponsors of your new team with Kerry, let me know.
Sure. Jaldwin Windows and Doors, Sperling Industries, Exchange Industrial Income Fund, Bobdale Oilfield Construction, Wellington West Capital, and Roy Legamu.
All right, Don, it's good to see you back in the game. I know curling fans are excited to see how this new rink works out, and hope to talk to you again sometime soon.
Thanks very much, Dean.
That's Don Walchuk on The Curling Show. Thanks again to anyone who's joined The Curling Show group on Facebook. I apologize for not letting members know this interview was in the works, but it came together sort of quickly. Here's Black Pudding.